Do you ever just make ugly art? Something you just really hate? Well, today I'd like to talk about how we can turn that ugly art into something beautiful. And basically just how we don't have to stop at the ugly, but we can keep going until we like it. So I don't think we should give up. Ugly can be beautiful, and I believe that's a nice metaphor for our life too. Like the ugly parts of our life can be transformed and made into something beautiful. Hi, I'm Cassandra Donnelly from Creative Passages, and today I would like to present my ugly art transformed into something that I think is beautiful. And so I'm going to start with this ugly art piece right here. That piece there was something, I think I was just getting rid of my paint. I don't know what it was, but it was ugly. And these other pieces I'm using, that flower, more ugly art. Basically, those flower pieces were an art project, an oil pastel drawing that was Mod Podge, and I stuck it with a bunch of other papers and artwork that was Mod Podge, like that one, and they all stuck together. That's another oil pastel drawing. I didn't used to know not to do that, so yeah, I had a bunch of ugly art, bunch of ruined artworks. I've since learned that, well, fix-it-int sometimes works and sometimes doesn't, but I've learned that cellulose glue actually will work well to preserve your art and keep it from sticking together, especially like you want to do an art journal or something. And it seems like with the cellulose glue, it will preserve whatever surface finish was glossy and shiny. It'll still be that way, or if it was matte, it'll still be that way. So I'm using these ruined pieces, and I think I kind of enjoy taking something ugly and making it beautiful. I enjoy that challenge. And so today, really, this was all about just having fun, taking the ugly, making it beautiful, but not getting stressed out about it, not getting pressured about it, not striving for perfection. In fact, it's almost like it's a relief to like not have to make anything perfect. In fact, the whole theme is about being imperfect and being ugly, but yet how the ugly can be made beautiful. And so this piece was a lot of fun. And I really wanted to focus on, you know, the fun part of it. So with this collage, I added some textbook pages. I added some old hymnals. I'm adding that distress spray. And I'm just going to have fun and I'm going to play. So now I want to add some white gesso to blend in those edges and make everything look more cohesive, except I can't find my white gesso. The white gesso I could find was all dried out. I have some clear gesso, but I didn't want clear, I wanted white, so I decided to use my Liquitex Basic Acrylic Transparent Mixing White, and basically it gives me the same effect as the white gesso. And normally you would probably add water to the white gesso so you could see through it a little bit. So this was perfect. So now that I added that transparent paint, I want to go back over it with watercolors. So this is a set that my daughter got me, and I will add the name right here. So I'm just adding these really pinky purple colors. I've been on this pink kick lately. Now I want to add some stencils in PanPastels. That's always fun. This is an alchemy script I got from Temu. Now I want to add some stamps. Basically, this was all about playing and trying as many things as I could possibly do in this particular piece. So you're going to see me use quite a lot of things here. Stamps are always fun. Can't get my black ink pad to work, but I got my Stays On Midnight Blue to work, so I'm just going with that. You're going to see me try to use the black later, but it's not working. So this is pretty good. So I like all these script texts. They're a lot of fun to use. And so I'm also using this border stamp. I really originally was trying to get this done in an hour. I wanted to just kind of do real time, and so you could see my joy and the playfulness. But that wasn't happening. It took me about 2 hours. So I'm narrating. I sped everything up to 400%. But this is fiber paste. I'm like, fiber paste. That's so much fun. Let's add the fiber paste. Let's see what fiber paste does through a stencil. It was kind of weird. But I was like, hey, weird. I'm all about the weird right now. This is ugly art. Weird. Let it be as weird as it wants to be. So it made that little stencil had some little squares on it, different sizes, and so it made little pops of like this fiber. So I used the Distress Oxide stamp to go back over it with that like plum color. So now I am going to add string gels, like string gel. Yes, I never used a string gel. This is sort of new. Never used it before. I don't know what I'm doing, but you know what? Art is all about playing and having fun, and that is how you learn. So, I've seen one video of it where I think Foil Art used it, but I vaguely remember. I don't remember how she mixed the paint. What I'm doing here does not work. Okay, it doesn't work, but that doesn't mean I can't do it and have fun and learn. So I added the acrylic paint to the string gel, which I put on my painter paper, and it doesn't get all stringy. It doesn't really move. So basically it's just like this clear, shiny gloss, texture that I'm putting on it, but doing it this way is not stringy the way it's supposed to. That's not how it's supposed to be. You're supposed to drizzle it on there like I'm doing now. Okay, I discovered if I just dipped my palette knife into the string gel and I didn't add any color, I could drizzle it the correct way. But if I tried to add color, I couldn't drizzle it. So I'm just like, well, it's still something. It's adding texture, it's adding visual interest, so I'm not getting stressed out about the fact that I didn't use it correctly.
So I'm using a heat gun to dry it.
I'm cutting out the blow drying times, except for when I want you to see me using it with the oil pastels to melt it. But it's partially dry, and I remembered, hey, this is kind of weird looking, but why don't we add some beads to it? Because it's just this shiny, gloppy, texture. Let's add some beads to it. So I like to have some fun, and of course I love beads. So that's what I'm doing to make this gloppy, shiny texture that wasn't stringy the way it was supposed to be into something interesting. I'm adding those beads. Now I was like, hey, why don't we throw in some sequins? I love these sequins. They're like pink and pretty. I'm all about the pink right now. I don't know why. I'm all about the pink. So I'm adding these pink sequins in here, and I'm just going to put a few here, a few there, a little pop of color, a little bit of extra texture to go along with my beads and make it shiny and beautiful. I mean, hey, if you want to make something ugly into something beautiful, why not? Some beads and some sequins. So there we go. So now, instead of using my cellulose glue, I'm using my Mod Podge. And I'm kind of just letting them fall wherever they want to fall. And now I was like, let's throw in some gold splatters. I always love gold splatters. Can't go wrong with gold splatters. You can make the ugly beautiful. Just add a little bit of gold splatters. I'm going to add all the things that I think make ugly stuff beautiful. So here we go with some gold splatters. And again, gold is like a color of healing for me. All right, so now we're going to I'm thinking, okay, I have a theme in mind. I have a quote in mind. He transforms the ugly into something beautiful. So that's my quote that I thought of. When I say he, I mean God. God transforms the ugly and he makes it beautiful. He turns our ashes into beauty. Gives us beauty for ashes. So he turns our mourning into dancing. That's just what he does. God's good. Like, we may go through a season of grief. We may go through an ugly season of our life, but we know that that phase is temporary, and we're eventually going to get to a more beautiful place. And God specializes in taking our messes and creating beauty. He specializes in taking the things that the enemy meant to harm us with and making meaning come out of it. And so that's what God does. So that's my quote. He transforms He transforms the mess into something beautiful. The mess of our life, the things that we mess up. If we give it to Him, if we submit to Him all our mistakes, He can make good come out of it, even though, our mistakes possibly hurt us, or maybe hurt
or others.
Maybe held us back, but they can turn into testimonies, and then you can share that testimony with other people, and that can maybe help other people not make the same mistakes. Or they could maybe, if you're healing from bad things that happen, like trauma, God can take that trauma, then give you a testimony that will help other people go through and heal from their trauma. So I have my quote, and I put it on tissue paper because you take less risk that way. You can just write it on tissue paper. But I decided to go with those stamps. Those stamps were a lot of trouble, by the way. But then I decided to glue that onto mulberry paper. So now I'm thinking, okay, I want to add some texture. I want to add some flowers. And I'm thinking, okay, I'm either going to do modeling, flexible modeling paste, or I'm going to do acrylic gel medium. But right now I just want to figure out which stencils I want to use for this. So I want smaller flowers, not too big, and I'm also thinking a dragonfly. So the ones I decide that could work, I'm putting to the right of my painting. The ones that won't work at all, I'm putting further to the right off of view, and the ones that maybe will work, I'm putting to the top. And I have a whole bunch of stencils that I've got from various places. I get most of the stuff from Temu because it's cheap. I really like that one that I just showed you, but I decided not to use it. But this smaller one right there, I thought this will work. Okay, but I hadn't glued my mulberry paper down. I just kind of arranged it into a way that I liked. So now I'm going to glue it down. So first I glued the tissue paper with the text stamps on it onto the mulberry paper, and now I'm gluing the mulberry paper onto my painting. So that one on top there, that stencil, I decided I'll use thick, heavy gel for the texture for that one, or super heavy gel, medium. But for the other flowers, I decided that I'll go with flexible modeling paste. And both of these are from Liquitex. So, this is the flexible modeling paste from Liquitex. And so, I wanted it to be light and, flexible, and be raised up just a little bit. And, I chose that stencil as well because it wasn't a solid all the way through. It was just a line, and I didn't want to cover too much of my art up. So that is why I chose something that wasn't quite such a heavy impression, but just more like a lighter impression. And so I'm maybe not that great at using the flexible modeling paste or these types of things because, I tend to get somewhere it's not supposed to be. But you see, all I did was wipe up the extra with a paper towel. So now I want to add, I think I'm adding my dragonfly. No, that's another flower. This flower was thick, and solid, but it was smaller, and I thought, that's kind of cute. I like that one, so let's use that one, and let's put another one on there too. I just don't want the flowers to dominate. I wanted them to add extra decorative touches, but not to dominate. I really wanted the text in the middle to be like the focal point. So now I'm adding the dragonfly, and I'm lifting up the stencil because otherwise it's going to mess up the flexible modeling paste I just put down in that flower. Alright, now this flexible modeling paste does need to dry before you can color it, but I used a hot heat gun for it. It doesn't take that long. So now I'm going to apply super heavy gel medium. And so I was thinking I could see through this. I couldn't really see. Well, it didn't quite turn out the way I want. I think last time I used a different acrylic medium that was lighter and not the super heavy one. So the consistency of this is pretty much like the flexible modeling paste. In fact, it seemed to be even thicker. And I thought maybe it would be like thinner, even though obviously it says super heavy gel. But yeah, so I'm still kind of experimenting with some things. So I dried it with my heat gun, and now I want to add color. There's a lot of different ways I could have added color. I could have painted it. I decided though I wanted a pink that would harmonize with the rest of the painting, and voila, there I have a Distress Oxide ink, which matched, and I'm trying to find the right color. I think it's a I always say pickled raspberry, but it's picked raspberry, right? A picked raspberry, not pickled. Why do I want to say pickled? So picked raspberry color. And I'm also adding Abandoned Coral. And so those are the two colors that I'm using right now. And now I'm also throwing in some PanPastels. So that's sort of a gold color, and the purplish pink color, I'm adding sort of like a magenta to this particular flower. And notice I'm using a brush with my PanPastels. I know most people don't use brushes. I know they usually use those little, regular sort of, I don't even know what you call it, applicators for it, but they're kind of thick. And even the ones that are thin, of course I only have a few of those, but I was like, let's just do a tiny brush. It was just more accessible to me, and I was like, well, I mean, I can do things my own way. So, and it actually worked well, just putting my little tiny brush on the PanPastel so I could get more detail. Because the applicators were a little bit too thick for this, and those flowers were very thin. So this part takes a little bit of time to do, and compared to other things that I've been doing to this particular artwork. But it's fun. Everything about this piece was fun. Even the tedious parts I didn't mind. Well, finding the text stamps, that was probably the least enjoyable part for me. But it was the first time I ever used it, and once I learned how to use it properly, then I did better. Because I learned you could find your word, click it all together, and then stamp it. I didn't know that at first. I was just looking for each and every letter and doing it individually. So now I want to add color to this dragonfly here. And so I just put a little bit on that painter paper so I could kind of mix the two colors, the green and the yellow there. And now I'm adding color to the super heavy gel medium. It's not 100% dry at this point in time, even though I did take the heat gun to it, so I'm trying to be easy. So now, what else can you add to ugly art to make it pretty? Glitter! So this is glitter fabric paint, and I really like this particular kind. And so it dries clear, and it just leaves this little faint glitter, and it's easy to use. And so I'm just adding a little razzle dazzle to the flowers, and I'm also going to add it to the words, I believe. By the way, there was a button also I stuck in that string gel that was kind of a big blob to the top left. Guess I forgot to mention that. So when I dip my brush into that glitter fabric paint, you know, the brush goes in too far in order to reach some of the paint. So what I did is kind of rolled it on my paper and then dipped my brush into the extra there. But yeah, it's just easy. And again, I'm trying to rush. I originally wanted to just get this done in an hour, so I'm just like going as fast as I can. But I get caught up in details. And you know, originally I wasn't really going to make a whole art piece. I just wanted to add a few items to it so I could like have it in process of being transformed. Like maybe thinking it could be a nice collage piece or something like that. But it just, I got captivated. I got enthralled with it, and you know, it caught me. And then I got hooked, and then I couldn't stop until I got done. So, but you know, that's what art does. I was like, boy, I need to make some art, because you know, I was like organizing my art. I've been trying to organize my art into portfolios and things like that, and then I was applying that cellulose glue to the older pieces, the ones that had Mod Podge on them. So now this is glass bead gel. This is something also that's a lot of fun. I like to experiment with these. I've used this one before, so I'm pretty familiar with this one. I typically don't add color to it, because what I find is that it goes on white, but then it dries clear, and so it leaves these little like bead-like things that are kind of like clear and transparent, and so it kind of accentuates the color underneath it, and so that's what I like about it. So I'm just leaving it on there, and it's just adding some texture. So now I've dried all the flexible modeling paste and super heavy gel medium textures, and you know, the dragonflies and the flowers, and so they don't show up very much. I don't want them to be that dominant, but I do want them to show a little bit. So to solve that problem, I decided that I would just outline them with the Stabilo Woody, and I would give them a little shadow so they'd be more noticeable. And it seems a little odd, like giving some of the flowers a shadow, especially the ones that were just kind of like a thin outline of a flower. So it looks a little bit weird, but at the same time, I think it works, because this whole piece is about, you know, weird things and ugly things becoming beautiful. So it seemed to fit, even having like a dark outline around the outline of the flower from the stencil. So this part takes a little bit more time too, compared to other things. So after I go around all the flowers and the dragonfly, I'm going to dip my brush in the water and then just go back around everything again to kind of soften it up and kind of blend it into the background as well. And again, sometimes I get a little bit too much water and it spreads out. And by the way, I just wanted to say that I'm wearing my bathrobe because my art shed is cold. I have a heater, but if the temp is really cold, like it was 35 degrees outside, my art room was 51 degrees, and that's kind of cold to me. I can tolerate it, but I didn't really want to wear like a heavy jacket. I just thought it would be better to wear my bathrobe. So, and I bought that pink sweatshirt to wear for making art, so I like to wear that, and of course I love the color pink, so that is why you see me in my bathrobe sometimes, because it's cold in there. Now, I guess it was bearable. If it goes like last time I made art, and maybe it was like 42 degrees, and I could only handle it for so long. But 51, it's cold, but it's tolerable if if you're dressed warm. A heater was expensive. I don't know why. It's like a heater and an AC, and I think I spent $700 on it. It's not a big art shed, so it should heat up the whole thing. So now what I'm doing is adding an oil pastel border. Now I could have gone with the Stabilo Woody or acrylic paint, but I really like the oil pastel. I'm used to oil pastels, and it's easy, and I could spare it. And now I'm also adding some extra color, just to give it more texture and color. And so I sprayed it with Fix-It because I know I'm going to add the self-leveling gel, and that will smear. Like if there's something water soluble that you've used before you add the self-leveling gel, it will smear. And so that is why I add the Fix-It. And sometimes you got to be careful with that, and you might even have to do more than one layer of Fix-It. But I was satisfied that I did it enough times. And also you saw me melt the oil pastels because I like the look of that. I put like sometimes different colors next to each other and kind of let it blend and bleed into one another. This is what it looks like with the self-leveling gel on. This is what it looked like in my dark shed, like right after the self-leveling gel dried. This is a scan of what it looks like. And then this is then a video of it outside in the bright sunlight, and so you can kind of get a good look at the color of it. This is looking at it from another angle outside. I have it set up on an easel, whereas before I was looking straight down at it while I was lying on a flat surface. So I just wanted you to be able to see it really well. And so I'm just kind of doing a close-up as I pan through the artwork. Thank you so much for taking the time to watch this art video. I hope it blessed you and you have a great day. If you like this video, please remember to share it, like it, and subscribe. And also I would love comments or questions if you have any. So again, have a great day and be blessed. And I hope your ugly parts of your life get transformed into something beautiful.